Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to podcast. I'm Idris. With me is
Ayushi, and today we are with a very interesting topic, that is emotional wellness. So now let's get into conversation with Mr. Vedavyas.
right. Very warm welcome to our show.
So I have heard many a times about emotion blockages.
Right.
So I wanted to understand what exactly it is.
But before you explain that, I want to know what are emotions.
Okay. The emotion word itself is comes from energy in motion. So when we need to make something happen, to decide and to act, emotion is the key.
Right.
You can think about logic and make lot of assumptions and make lot of reasoning and analysis and everything. That doesn't lead to action, that doesn't lead to decisions, it doesn't lead to anything. Finally, it's the emotion that is the key. So, emotions in the mild form are called feelings, being sensitive or being receptive or expressive. So, receptive and sensitive is about receiving these feelings, expressive is about sharing these feelings. And from feelings, next level comes when they are more intense, stronger. Then it's called emotion.
So first comes feeling, then it becomes emotion.
Emotion.
Right.
So emotions are much more stronger, and they are very decisive. You tend to act rather than think during emotions, especially when they are strong.
Right.
So if you suddenly get angry, will you be thinking what should I do, or will you be automatically saying whatever comes to your head?
Whatever comes
Whatever
to our
comes,
head.
Right?
Right.
So that is action. So emotions lead to actions. So if we are in control of our emotions, aware of our emotions, then we know what we are going to do, when we are going to do, and we can plan our emotions also. We know what creates our emotions. Then we'll make sure that if I want to be peaceful, and meditation gives me peace, I have to deal with someone, and for that I need a lot of peace. What will I do? I'll practice meditation, become peaceful, then I'll deal with that person.
Right.
Right? So emotions are leading to actions mostly. So we have to be aware of when and what kind of emotions am I carrying, and what triggers my emotions, and what makes it difficult to express. See, emotional block, when you say, it's similar to having multiple emotions competing to find expression, and which are in conflict. On one side, if we take example of Idris, is it okay?
Yeah, please.
Right? On one side, if someone did some injustice, you will feel anger. On the other side, you don't want to look bad, so you won't want to say anything. Am I right?
Yeah, it happens.
Happens.
Yeah.
And this conflict makes you less expressive at that time, until you cleanse off that energy of anger and everything and become more cheerful. Right? So for that period, because the emotions are in conflict, you are not able to choose one emotion over other, or at least suppressing one of the emotions, there is a block getting created. Right? Similarly for us, we have lot of ideas about how things are supposed to be. Many of these ideas in many situations come under conflict. So that's why there is a moral question, there is an ethical question, then there is a rule book, then there are social equations, then there are personal relationship equations. And these all, when they come into conflict, what happens? Can we express all these emotions? No. At the most, we express bare minimum and suppress most of them.
Yes.
So this suppression, when it becomes a habit, then that emotions go inside, create violence, triggers and many other things, and they explode. And when these explosions happen unpredictably, frequently and we are not being expressive, then it's called an emotional block.
Right.
Okay. So how do we cleanse it?
First of all, to cleanse an emotional block, we need to accept responsibility for it. Like I said, we need to accept that this is what I am holding. Most of the people won't even think about accepting. Always blame on situations.
And others.
This person does this, that's why I get triggered. If he doesn't do that, then I am okay. Huh?
Right.
My kid is there, they'll always blame parents. If parents are there, they'll always blame kids. If you are at work, you'll always be boss or some colleague.
So the blame game goes
Blame game goes on.
on. Yes.
The moment we stop the blame game and take responsibility for ourselves, then we can start addressing the emotional block. Then it's not easy, because by the time we realize that blame game is not good, we have developed oceans of emotions suppressed inside, which are very painful. It's not just a simple block now. It's very painful and it's debilitating to the extent that it keeps on triggering inside mind whether we like it or not. It's like we are getting angry, we don't even know why we are getting angry. There is nothing to be angry about, but we find something to be angry about. Have you seen some people like that?
Yeah.
There is nothing there, everything is okay, but they'll find a problem
To be angry.
to be angry about.
Yes.
It's not that there's this, in the situation there is any problem. It's because they're holding a lot of anger inside them and it needs an outlet, and they'll find it.
And it gets burst at any
Burst.
point of time.
Right. And again they have to suppress it. They can't even express it properly.
Because of holding all of this emotion, suddenly it gets burst out.
Yes.
Because they want to find a reason to be angry.
It's not that they want to, but they are compelled to.
Okay.
Because they are holding a lot of anger inside them, and like there is a judgment inside and things are not right. Like you're holding, there is a lot of injustice happening. Should I tolerate it? Right?
Big
That is big question. They'll have that big question all the time. And they'll be completely justified and projecting it anywhere and everywhere. Sometimes it's genuinely a lot of people are facing that problem and many people are not able to express and they become their mouthpiece. And most of the time, it's not so. That means they'll be being angry with everything and anything and bothering a lot of people.
Now, one more question here.
Yeah.
Since Ayushi is here, you don't listen to what we are talking, okay? How do we deal with the people who are emotionally blocked?
Yeah, be compassionate.
Okay. You didn't hear anything, right?
That is called emotional blockage, that you are holding a lot of emotion inside you and not being able to express because it's too complex, too painful, and half the time we don't have control, and most of the time we feel completely justified. Because we have to find reason to accept our sanity. If I accept that I am angry no matter what, then I am mad, right? Huh? So, to accept ourselves as a decent person, I will reject my anger. I am only angry at certain times when these things happen, and these happen very frequently. That's not my mistake.
Right.
Okay, so the emotional blockages become triggers, and triggers become compulsive habits. And what the most challenging aspect of the emotional blocks is that when it comes to this stage, it becomes compulsive. That is, they don't have control and they keep getting triggered. And beyond certain point, they lead to depression. Okay. So there are different levels of emotional blockages. The mild blockage is a simple conflict that can be resolved if we just look into it. And if let it fester and become, I don't have time to address my emotions or think about my emotions, then we are building that time to next level, where it will become somewhat a strong trigger, gets triggered once in a while. And then if we keep building that up, then it becomes a strong trigger that gets triggered most of the time. And if we have any relationship which actually triggers that again and again, it keeps on building up, right? And then at a point where it becomes too much for the person, when they can't justify their own sanity and they have to face the reality, either it's make it or break it. Make it means they go deeper into themselves and actually shift and transform themselves. Break it means go into depression. So the emotional blocks, as I said, the simplest and easy way to address emotions is writing them down. So you can't express it to others. Obviously, it's too painful for yourself, it is painful for others as well. If you depend on others to express emotions, as some people need, as some people don't like, the challenge is that people only can take so much of your emotions. After that, they'll be turned off and that relationship will go bad. So there is a minimum amount of emotion, maximum amount of emotion that is required in the relationship. So we have to understand, if we want to maintain that relationship, what is the minimum emotion, maximum emotion that we can express.
And also at times it sounds like showing sympathy to that person.
So the point is that if someone is coming to me, even as a professional, I don't let people dump their problems on me. Because just because I'm supposed to be tolerant, I'm supposed to be good, that is not a responsible way of handling the emotions. The key is to help them realize their own responsibility and then help them address their issues. Give them clarity and direction so that emotions can be resolved. So emotions can also be completely tangled, or a single emotion can be very powerful and can create problems. What are different layers of emotions and what are different layers of blocks that are there, which are intense emotions, which are less intense emotions. Because if something is very intense emotion, if we don't want to address it, even if we address the rest of the things, this intense emotion will get projected into other emotions. Like a person is very angry and he also has drinking problem. Drinking might not be intense. That anger he is not able to tolerate, so he is drinking. So if we ask the person to stop drinking, what will happen?
He'll be more angry.
Yeah.
So, and then it will become intolerant, again he will drink.
In fact, he'll drink more.
He'll drink more.
This time.
So people have, for example, if someone is having problem with self-image, okay, and they do stress eating, and because of which they are getting obesity, and against self-image is getting affected. And if you ask them to do dieting, what will happen?
Again, they'll get obese.
Right? So what needs to be addressed? The self-image aspect. If one accepts one's image as good and shifts that perspective in the right way, then automatically stress eating is gone. If that is gone, they'll become much more healthy. So there is certain master and slave sort of habits in the emotional blocks as well. So these are actually coping mechanisms. So if we address the coping mechanism, the main issue is not resolved. So we need to identify the main issue in the whole complex web of blocks and resolve that so that other things can be addressed. Once you address the main thing, like anger issue is there, if you address the anger issue, the person will not feel like drinking. He might drink socially sometimes, but it will not be a habit. Right? Similarly, overeating is actually coming from self-image in certain cases. If we address the self-image aspect, if they feel that I am amazing just the way I am, automatically their body becomes amazing after a while.
Right.
They don't have to do all that nonsense of dieting and this. Dieting will become easy, in fact. Any dieting will work for them. Right?
It's just that they need to address in the right way.
Right way.
They need to accept themselves the way they are.
Yes. So it all comes to the tolerance of accepting oneself. That is the key. So emotional block basically means somewhere we don't like ourselves in multiple ways. And these multiple ways are conflicting and we are not able to see what is really happening, and we are completely justified in blaming the world around us.
Right.
That is emotional block.
Wonderfully explained. course. Ayushi, now I hope you got the clarity on this topic.
Right.
Right. So you need
And
to
it was much needed actually.
Yeah, you need to introspect, start from your own feelings and emotions,
Yeah.
and work towards it. Definitely,
Yeah.
it will create peace around you.
Yeah, right.
Right.
One more live example that I
And what
wanted
about
to
you?
give.
For that, we'll do another episode. I'm just supporting you to guide her.
You're
When
just
it's-
been clever
when
over
it's-
here.
When it is her turn, she can also. It's a very open, of course.
So one more live example I wanted to give here is that one of my friend, maybe she got into a conflict with some other colleagues and all, and people started judging her on that particular situation or the particular argument that she had. So because of those judgments and all, there was a different kind of feeling that was creeping inside, and that was actually bothering her. So is that also, you know, kind of emotion blockages that's happening inside?
It's a consequence of emotional blocks.
Okay.
There'll be a train of emotional blocks, and they resulted in this feeling of creeping something. See, social settings are not as straightforward as you never get judged by one single incident. People just forget it unless it's repetitive. Even if they judge us, they won't repeat it again and again because their memory span is too less for such things. They have too many things to bother about. But what we hold on ourselves, that judgment, if it is fueled by the triggers and emotional blocks available inside us, the energy there, then we are bothered by it again and again and again and again. And we make it reality. Whatever we are afraid of, we manifest it. So if people are really judging again and again, it's not because of that incident, because this person is very sensitive to that. So if you want to poke at another person and make fun, what is the point you'll poke?
Which triggers him.
Right? So it's not about that situation or not about judgment. It's just because she's sensitive, and people, if they have to make fun, that is the easiest way of doing it.
Right.
Got it.
And who will you poke? Again, that's another question. If you have 4 or 5 friends, if one person is non-confrontational and one person is confrontational, who will you make fun of?
Of course, the one who is confronted.
Huh?
The one who confronts.
Will you poke jokes about a person who will confront you?
The person who is non-confront.
Non-confrontational.
Yes.
Maybe he will walk away then. What's the fun then? If he doesn't confront, then he will walk away, right?
Not necessarily. There are many challenges because they want to be part of the group. Right? Visibility happens only in the group. And if you walk away, the visibility is gone. The company is gone. So usually that doesn't happen. If you to walk away also, the person has to be confrontational. That's one way of confronting.
Yeah, right.
It's even more difficult actually. Can you walk away?
Well, it depends on the
It
situation.
depends on the situation. Unless it's too painful, you won't walk away.
Absolutely.
So, in the social settings, we have to see if I am non-confrontational person. If I am non-confrontational, I am more likely to made fun of. Okay? And second, if I am being sensitive, then that's the judgment others will see that I am very sensitive about, and they will use that against me.
Got it.
Right? So the moment that judgment inside us, that energy is released, that block is removed, in the social settings others will not be able to make fun of that again. So that judgment is gone. So if others are poking or judging her in this way, usually it means she is non-confrontational to the extent that she is, to the extent of that social settings at least. And next thing is she acts sensitive about it because it's really bothering her.
Right.
And it has nothing to really do about the real judgment. most of the time. Sometimes it might be, but then the person will know, I am like this, so people are making fun of this.
Right.
When that happens, you are very clear about people are doing it because I know I am like this. But if I am not like this, only one situation people are doing this, and then it's about me being non-confrontational and safe person to make fun of, and me being sensitive about that particular topic.
Right. And what do you want to say to the people who are passing these judgments or who are just talking, without any knowledge about that particular matter? Because though they don't know about that matter, they are just poking up in that
Yes.
particular matter, passing judgments.
Yes.
So what do you want to say to those people?
They are doing perfect job. They are being the perfect mirror. They are showing you exactly what you need to work on yourself.
Got it.
Right? So it is for me to take the responsibility and release this judgment and sensitivity, so I become strong enough that people will start respecting me.
Right.
Do I want to earn my respect, or do I want my respect for free?
Earn respect.
Right.
So when that is the situation, do you think society is wrong or people are wrong? Right? So they are playing their role. If you look at them, they also have their own set of sensitivities, and it's not like that. They not have problems or they don't have judgments or anything. They also get made fun by someone else. So it's a power equation, social settings. So if I am powerful enough, if I am not judging myself, if I am not sensitive to certain things, then it's very difficult for people to make fun of me. And when people can't make fun of me, then the question comes about the reality is whether I am adding value to the society or not. If I am adding value and people respect that value, then our respect increases. Otherwise, things are lost in this superficial one-upmanship and social visibility and all these things, which are actually satisfying only the emotional blocks inside people than actually adding value to each other.
Right.
Right?
But what kind of people they are that they're pushing someone to such a low state of emotion? And
What kind of?
because just for their fun, because they just want to talk about certain things, and that gives them pleasure
But I think
of talking about
he already
it.
answered. When you react, then only they will do that, right?
Yeah, but
You have to.
though if you are not reacting, still they continue to do that just for their fun
Yes.
sake, because they get that pleasure
Right.
seeing someone in that kind of state, right?
Right.
So what kind of person are they?
You tell me.
I
It's
want to
your
know it
judgment.
from you.
It's your judgment.
It's just that I'm giving you a real time example.
No, that's a perfectly right example. Now, there are two ways of looking at it. Either from my own judgment, my own experiences, or from the big picture of being compassionate. Looking at each person's karma and their behavior and their personalities and everything. Which perspective would you like?
Being compassionate.
Okay. Now look at it from compassionate perspective. In society, there are a lot of bullies. Like you have an example of a bully who doesn't like dogs,
Yes.
right? This is a similar
Yeah,
situation,
yeah,
Right.
yeah, right.
right? How do you address that?
I already got that.
Yeah, how?
That the emotionless on the context with emotionless or heartlessness, that kind of thing that
Right.
you are asking me right now.
I'm asking you now. You are actually facing a situation where someone is trying to bully you
Yeah.
no, from
They
not
don't
taking care of dogs and getting rid of dogs,
Yeah.
whereas you allowed taking care of dogs,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Now, this situation, the bully is there and you are there. We have actually discussed and resolved it.
Oh, yes.
Now, what is the solution you found in that context?
That I need not. I need to be compassionate towards my own self.
Okay, and then?
I need to be calm. I need to address my own emotions first, and
Once
then
they're
look
addressed.
at the other aspects of it.
Yes. Now, apply it to this situation. Be compassionate to everybody and yourself, and then tell me what kind of people they are.
Idris, I need your help here.
Yes, of course. So what I understood is she's still yet to get to that level wherein she can feel compassion for them and take it as positive and improve herself. If she
Right.
improves herself, definitely it's going to be a very big answer for them.
Right.
They will definitely change.
Right.
So the change comes from within.
Yes.
Like that that's what I understood. Am I right, sir?
Right. I'll give you my own personal example. I'm part of a business network called BNI, which is where entrepreneurs are in a group in chapters and we exchange business and create visibility for each other's marketing, sales and everything. And there are different roles in that.
Yeah.
So I was made vice president of the chapter. And vice president is someone who holds the rule book and implements the discipline.
Okay.
And in a group of people who are all entrepreneurs, who are all owners of their own, who are all leaders, and who are all accountable to themselves but nobody else, I have to set the rule book. And if I implement the rules, what will happen?
People are going to be against you.
Yes.
Right.
And I am a person who will really implement the rules. Being a role, this is a role and I will just do that. When I did that, a lot of people turned against me.
Yes.
But I saw what is hurting me there and I resolved those emotions. Then I was able to connect with other people and find their emotions and be compassionate towards them as well. And this shift, when I learned, the result was the chapter I was, it increased its size. It took about 1 year. First 6 months, things went down. We lost about 30% of the chapter. Then in the next 6 months, we got 2.5 times chapter size. Because just by being compassionate. And those people who are all against me, suddenly started respecting me. Those who all judged me, suddenly found a lot of respect for me. Because what they were hurt, and once I became compassionate to them, compassion doesn't mean that I'm not following rules again. I'm still strictly following the rules, but being more compassionate about it. Instead of simply saying, this is a rule, follow it. I say, I'll sit with them and talk to them, what is your problem and all this, okay. But still this is how we do things, can you kindly accept? And they'll accept.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of respect in that.
Right.
Okay?
So it's just that the other way we need to put it.
Right. So the point is we have to connect with the people before implementing the rule.
Got it.
Without connection, without compassion, if you implement the rule, then people will turn against you.
Or maybe just like the farm laws. The laws were applied, farm laws in the country. It has triggered a lot of farmers against the government.
That's a political movement. That
I'm just
has
saying,
nothing to do with the farmers.
Because they didn't consult with them.
No, it's not about consultation at all. There is a propaganda machinery there. Okay, there are a lot of political interests, international interests that are working there. It is not about farmers at all. If you see the people who are agitating, they are not really farmers. They may own farmland, hundreds and thousands of acres, doesn't make them farmers. If you really go to the profile of each person who is the leader of the farmers, they are saying, they are not really, I don't see any of them actually going to the farm and working the farm.
They are all dalals.
Okay, so, and that's why the movement is localized in one particular area. If it was a real farmer issue, then it would have spread all over country. If others were not consulted, then everybody would rise, right? So we have to be more compassionate to everybody, not just one party that's shown a lot of visibility and creating a lot of ruckus. Not every movement is really about movement. There will be many other factors. If you want to understand good movements, then look at the RTI movement, which was really a movement, where people from whole Rajasthan state, the social activists created a movement which created social response, which was first accepted by the collector level. Then they implemented it and it became so popular. Then the whole state had to implement it. Then the nation had to implement it.
Right.
Okay? Right. So that is a real movement. This is political propaganda machinery.
I was just
Uh,
wondering because
Yeah,
every now
so-
and then we.
Listening to people only works when people are willing to listen.
Right.
Okay, so if they only want to make ruckus and create nonsense for sake of propaganda and political interest and everything, then there's not much point. You have to ignore them.
Ignore and move on.
Ignore and move on, because life doesn't stop
Yeah.
for anyone.
Very important point.
Yeah. Also, I understood that, you know,
At
you
times we
be
have to move on.
compassionate, you be good, and then
Mm.
things will automatically fall at
Right.
its place.
Right.
It depends on the other people also. They have to be ready for listening you. They have
Mm.
to ready to be listened to you,
Yeah.
isn't it? So if they don't, then
Doesn't work.
no point. Very well explained. Definitely, it was a great conversation today.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
on
you
this
so
show.
much, sir.
Thank
Well, that was our today's podcast, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm Idris signing off along with my colleague.
Ayushi, and stay tuned to PMC English for more updates, and do not forget to visit our website www.pmcenglish.com.
And yes, like, share, and subscribe this video.